Welcome to the Backpacking and Blisters podcast. With me today is my guest host, Ben McAuliffe. He's a man who once sued an airline over losing his luggage. Unfortunately, he lost the case.
Which one? The case or the luggage or both?
Pun. It's a pun, Ben. It's a pun.
Oh, got it. Okay. My true story. My daughter lost her luggage on the way to Kenya. So there's that. But they found it. It was in the front yard of the school. All of a sudden she prayed and she looked and there's her luggage sitting there. So it does happen. I haven't never lost my luggage, thankfully, but I've heard horror stories from my parents have. With me today is the one man who uses his earwax to wax his skis, Carl Mandrioli.
Yes. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
I told my son that. He read it and he got sick. He's like, "That's gross, Dad."
Yeah. You're picking up where Dirk left off, basically. So
yeah.
All right. Well, this episode is brought to you by Enlighten Equipment. They have the best ultralight quilts on the market. They're made in Minnesota. Check them out. If you are looking to lighten your load, that is the place to go. Sleeping bags, quilts, that's the place to start. We've got controversial backpacking gear. Did you come up with an interesting list that's not simply rehashing the things that we've made fun of for years, Ben?
I hope so. I haven't listened for quite some time to this podcast. I just started listening recently. Sometimes I don't even listen when I'm hosting it, but hopefully I didn't rehash any items. So you'll have to let me know how I did. I'm sure you'll give me a grade at the end, like you always.
And that's what
do.
we look for in a guest host, is somebody who has no idea what's been on previous episodes. Thank you for preparing. All right, well, Ben, we're gonna find out, my friend. All right, so, and then you've got later in the show, you've got, was it 2 Mountain House stories, like just for Meg, a recent Patreon supporter?
Yes, I got a couple of stories from Mountain House that I stumbled upon today from real life experience. So we got those coming up later in the episodes.
Okay. I got a story too. It doesn't really relate to backpacking, but I think that I live.
But I just want to talk about it. Ben's sharing something, so I'm going to share something. So I just want to talk.
You can take it as a comment because I want your perspective on this, because I think that I live near a time vortex.
Okay. I'm going to stop you and say you probably don't, but do you like walk around the block and then realize oh, that was 30 seconds. Time must have stopped.
No, I've got years of evidence, and I'll share that story at the end too. So you can be the judge.
Wow.
But it sounds like you're already biased against it, so maybe you're not the right person to share with. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll have to find someone else that will believe your conspiracies. But okay.
All right. Followers, the episode 2 Timothy 2:23 have nothing to do with foolish, ignorant controversies. You know that they breed quarrels. So are we about to breed quarrels here, or are we just solving problems?
I hope we're solving problems. I mean, if we get into a pretty big quarrel, this will be either a really good episode or everyone's just going to be awkward and shut it off while we're yelling at each other. So we'll see. But hopefully it's a good episode.
Did you say they're going to shut it off or start yelling at each other?
No, we're going to yell. They're going to shut it off while we're yelling at each other. No, they're not going to yell. Well, maybe they will. Maybe they'll be so irate that against our viewpoint that they're going to start yelling at it, and we'll get some more emails.
We might get some more emails. I can get excitable for sure, but I'm not going to yell at you. So hopefully you won't yell at me there.
Well, that's a first.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. So what does it mean to have controversial gear? How do you define that?
For me, it's gear that people are jump on a bandwagon. And I don't want to give my gear away yet, but there's, one gear I didn't do is Nalgene bottles, but I think that can be controversial with all the other bottles out there. To me, Nalgene is just a thing of the past. It used to be cool. Everyone had it. It was green and all that. And maybe people are already upset, but that's just an example. And no one's going to argue with me because I'm not doing my gear right now, but I think it's a pretty controversial, useless item. So that is my...
That's your definition. Your definition is Nalgene bottle. What is controversial gear? Nalgene bottle is your answer, right?
Well, it was an example, Carl. If you're listening, it was just an example.
So not a definition.
Are you not listening to the
episode? What? So if I'm testing kids at school, what is a government? And they just say monarchy. Is that the right answer?
No, they'd have to give a little more definition,
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I did, and I used the point. Yeah. All right, tell us the right answer, Carl. Tell us the right answer.
Okay. I just want to know your perspective. And I like that you're not using Nalgene because that is definitely one we've picked on for years. But yeah, I just think it's gear that some people think is good, some people think is useless, some people bring and swear by, some people you may never find it in their pack. And so these are things that, yeah, for whatever reason, some people love, some people hate, whatever you want to say, it's controversial. So
It sounded just
I
like what
got
I said, but a little bit more words.
exactly.
Yeah. All right.
All right. And then this was okay. And just full disclosure, this is a Ben episode here. This is his idea. I want to give you credit because I think this is a good idea. So
After I start, now you want to be like, okay, if this goes
I know I
bad,
do want to
this
give
is
you
Ben's
credit.
idea. If it's good, all right. This is
Well,
my
I used to
idea. I
call
thought it was
Derek episodes like, I
Yeah.
would call him out on that. And I don't think, he hasn't done an episode in years. And so I'm excited when other people come up with some ideas and that are good. So this is a good one. And you had an idea. You wanted to have us like predict what the other will say, whether we think it's controversial or whether we like it, we suggest it or not, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I'm gonna give my items. I think I got 5 items, and
Okay.
you're gonna guess whether they are. I think they're gonna be useless or useful.
Okay. So you can start because I think you got more than me. So give me your
What?
first
How do
item.
I?
And
We literally said let's do 5 items. How do I have more
did
than
we?
you? Yeah, but it's okay.
Oh.
Well, I'll start.
I can find another one.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I can dig one
It's
up.
a little too okay. Make one up.
Sorry.
You're gonna use the Nalgene bottle now.
I don't remember saying we're going to do 5, but I probably did. Okay, so
Yeah. Okay.
so tell me like why it's controversial, why some people bring it, why some people don't bring it, and then I'll tell you whether I think you would bring this item. All right, go for it. What's your first one?
Okay. So I'm gonna start with the carabiner. And it's controversial. A lot of people use it to hang multiple items. And some people just bring it and hang more than they should. So do you think this is going to be a useful or useless item, Carl? A carabiner?
Your definition is amazing.
I know.
You're selling me
I'm not
so much on
defining
the
a carabiner. Gosh, if you don't know what a carabiner is, have you
I
backpacked
know what a
before?
carabiner is, but what? Okay, I don't think. Okay,
We're talking
I don't
backpacking.
think
We're
you're
not
bringing the
talking. We're
carabiner.
not talking mountain climbing here. So yeah,
Right. I don't think you're bringing the carabiner. And are you talking about like one of those keychain carabiners or full size carabiners?
a backpacking one that you just get for $5 at any store that says not
Full
for
size.
climbing.
Oh, that
Sure,
not for climbing.
we can
So
say
more
that.
like keychain one.
Yeah, because this
So
is
I
for
think,
backpacking, not rock climbing.
but I've seen people bring the rock climbing ones on backpacking trips. They dangle them off their pack.
Just overkill. Yeah, that's because they
It,
want to like act like they're like Sylvester Stallone and climbing mountains or something, and like they're gonna
right.
need it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So I
all
think
right.
that your carabiner is something that you don't bring. I think that it is useful for people that are trying to hang their food bags. They're kind of like, connecting it to the rope, their cord, whatever, then connecting it to their stuff sack or whatever, their ursack, however they carry it or however they hang it. I think that you can find uses for it. But I think in the end, you think this is a useless item.
I think it's a useless item. I think the reason you bring one of them is for your food bag. If you're using it to hang gear off your shoulder straps or your backpack, just maybe you got the wrong backpack at that point, or you're just adding
Right.
weight that you don't need because you're like, oh, and I get it. Some of it's easier to have, your Nalgene bottle and your carabiner right here. So you got 2 useless items just banging you in your chest, just going crazy and making tons of noise. And we already discussed, I don't like noise on the trail. So this is one for me that I think is just useless. We can make a case that it could be useful, but no, for me,
No.
I'm not a big carabiner fan.
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything that you need it for. The closest thing is I know that some people have their devices, their beacons, their locator beacons, sometimes clipped to their strap. But I mean, those can even go in like mesh pockets and still pick up the signal. I've had that happen. So
Right.
I guess it depends on where you are. People that are clipping it for the food bag, you can just tie a knot that's easily undoable. So I just feel like it might be a little more convenient, but it's just an extra thing to bring. So I'm gonna give that the thumbs down as well.
Oh, I feel like I swayed you. I feel like you were going to go useful for a
I don't bring
carabiner.
carabiners. No.
You don't?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Cool.
start off
We
strong
agree.
with one that
We're not even.
Yeah, we agree. I'm gonna start off strong with one that you probably did not have on your list right here. All right.
Oh, he's opening something. That's the paper we're hearing.
Okay, so this
Plastic
right
bag?
here is an
Note. Wait.
ultralight. What's that?
It looks like a nail clippers. Oh my gosh, what is it?
This is
Yeah, I can't even see it. Oh my gosh, it's a knife. Okay,
yeah.
if you can't see this because it's a podcast and this is not good radio here, it's a very small pocket knife.
It's like a 1-inch blade basically. So it looks. I think it's even smaller than that, to be honest. And so I have this very small pocket knife, and so bringing a knife on the trail, a lot of people do that. But why this is controversial is this would be the only knife that I would bring. This weighs, I want to say, an ounce or maybe less than an ounce, and so this can cut things like first aid-y kind of things, bandages, the gauze, whatever. This can cut into your, if you don't tear well on your freeze-dried food, you can trim it, do a little trimming with it.
Right.
But
is with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's controversial because where people use a bigger blade, this is not going to be helpful. So, but this is my only blade if I were to bring it. What do you think?
I think it's useless. You can barely grab it. You're holding it with 2 fingers. You're going to stab yourself just by trying to use it. Or you're going to drop it and step on it, puncture a hole in your tent.
Well, your confidence in me knows no bounds. You're going to stab yourself, then drop it and step on it. Stab yourself twice. Nice.
Oh, that's the most useless knife I've ever seen. If you
do
say this is useful.
Is this my only knife?
You just said that would be your only knife you're bringing, right?
I said if I were to bring it, it'd be my only knife.
Oh.
Is that something that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely useless. Even as your only knife, you're better off
then
just using your teeth and biting packages.
Again? Do we need to go over this again? You're the one that created the rules. You need to predict: is it something that I'm bringing or not? Do I think it's useful or useless? You got to predict that.
I've said like 3 times it's useless. You can barely grip it.
You're saying it's useless.
Oh,
you're telling me what I think.
Okay, well, if you think it's useful, then I don't even know what to tell you because that is the worst knife I've ever seen. I can't get over it.
Okay.
I hope you show this. I hope this is on the cover so everyone can just see this. Yeah, I can't. I thought I couldn't even see it until you held it up close to the mic.
Ben is still refusing to answer the question. Like he cannot commit.
No, I told you. I think you're thinking it's useless. Even if it's your only knife you're bringing, then maybe you'll just like be Carl and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna use my knife because Ben says useless. Let me cut this apple for you, and I have to do it 3 different ways and 3 different cuts because it won't fit through an apple in one way."
This is my only knife. The reason why I have this is because I just got this off of Amazon, and it's just I actually had one like slightly bigger than this, but somebody got a hold of my first aid kit and did not return it, and so now I had to buy a new one. I'm not a knife guy. I don't use knives for a whole lot of things, and so this little knife is like an emergency knife that I would use if needed. But I think I've gone on, I want to say like 5 or 6 trips in a row and have not pulled out my knife, so I feel like I don't need a big blade.
I don't even know where I'd put that in my pack where I'd remember where it is, where I could see it. Like all my pockets are too big.
In the first aid kit's where I put it.
Okay, and you lost it because it was in the first aid.
No, I lost. Someone didn't. Somebody carried it.
Lost the whole first aid. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that went completely sideways. All right, number 2. A hammock is my number 2 item.
Okay.
Do I need to make a case for both of them? I mean, it's a hammock.
Yeah.
You hang it up, you chill around camp, or is it useless because it's a hammock and it takes time to set up?
So I mean, full disclosure, like I'm not a hammock guy, and I don't know if you are either because we haven't gone backpacking together yet. We're almost there, but you come across as kind of a lounger. So I'm gonna say
what? If my boss is listening, I don't come across as a lounger.
I mean, you're talking about setting up your hammock at camp, but I could see you setting up your hammock at lunchtime too. It'd be like, hey guys, if you want to start, I just need like 30 to 60 minutes nap, and then I'll catch up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then I'm running to catch up to you guys. I need that quiet time in the morning.
Oh my gosh. Right. I'm going to say, based on you saying you're not a lounger, I guess you think they're useless.
Yeah. I think they're useless. I mean, and I know people that sleep in them. So if you're using them to sleep, it's a different scenario. This is just for when you got your tent, your sleeping bag, and then you want to bring a hammock to lounge around camp. I think it's just too much time to hang. You got to find 2 trees that are close together. Otherwise, you got a whole bunch of rope you got to hang and, crisscross around to get your hammock. And then you got to get it just right where, maybe it's me and how I need to figure out how to hang a hammock, but it kind of goes down at weird angles. And then the ultralight hammocks, I'm always afraid I'm going to sit in it, just going to like break apart and I just smack into the rocks. So
Yeah.
a little bit of fear in the hammocks for me.
Okay.
So definitely a useless item for me.
Folks, if you're anger raging out there at Ben right now, it's okay. It's understandable. I know that probably 70% of the folks, our fellow adventurers out there, are hammock users. So talk about like trying to bash the audience. You succeeded, my friend.
Good. Between that and spitting my gum outdoors, I think I've alienated everybody in the backpacking world. So we're good.
It's a controversial episode, so it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so I think hammock setups are amazing, and I think they're great east of the Rockies, or if you tend to go below tree line. Like frequently, I'm hiking above tree line, and there's just not a spot for hammock, and so I know there's probably workarounds or whatever, but yeah, it's not for me. But I respect them, and I think that the setups they have and the ingenuity they have with the hammocks is super impressive. So I'm not going to say it's useless. It's just not for me. I'm going to say they're useful, and there's a place for them. And how people set them up in like the dead of winter and stay warm, it still blows my mind.
Oh, I don't get that. Yeah. Well, you need a quilt, and just so happens we have people that sell them. But no, I've used a hammock once in the Boundary Waters, and it was just for fun because I had it and never used it. And so I set it up and the kids were in it and we were base camping. So a little different scenario, but I'm just not one to just every time we stop, set up a hammock and sit in it and lounge.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Next one is the backpack rain cover right here.
What?
All right.
My gosh, where are you getting these items? All right, just keep going. I'm sorry. Yeah,
I know.
Just keep
it's
going.
like I host a backpacking podcast for years, huh?
I should have pulled out my hammock and been like, "Look, my hammock."
Why do you have backpacking gear and you host a backpacking podcast? That's weird, Carl. You're weird.
Well, you're going. I would never have thought of these items. So kudos to you.
This is why it's fun. This is
I know it is. I'm learning.
I wouldn't have thought you said hammock.
I
wouldn't have thought you're trying to make people mad, but you did. So there you go.
but you did make them mad. Yeah. All right. Okay. Go on with your rain fly.
Rain cover. Okay. I think most people, to be honest, are ditching these nowadays. People are buying packs that are generally water resistant, borderline waterproof, so they don't have to get this thing out. They don't have to, like this thing right here right now costs $40 at your outdoor retailer store. That is like egregiously priced for what this is. Like, let's be honest, this is terrible price. If you put this on you want to quickly access something, let's say it's like the rain's on and off, you gotta dig underneath or take it off. It's annoying. One, on the positive side, like for me, it can waterproof your bag entirely when you use it. This particular one made by Osprey clips behind the shoulder straps so it doesn't blow off in the wind. And people that use these don't like digging through the plastic on the interior part of your backpack. For those that use like the garbage disposal bags. So what do you think, Ben?
Well, once again, for the listeners that we are targeting, he's holding up a green bag. So just give me a visual, just a green bag. And inside that green bag, we don't know what's in it. He hasn't opened it up, but he's telling us it's something to cover his backpack. So just for the listeners that are listening. Yep. So I think you're going to go useless just the way you described it, unless you're trying to throw me a curveball. But I think it's useless. The price point.
I think a lot of people think it's useless. I actually like this a lot.
Okay. I should have thought about that. Like you bought $40 and you're holding it. And I guess I should have looked. You looked proud. You look like a proud dad holding that.
I'm not proud. So. There's certain things we buy that you're like, I can't believe this costs so much. This is one of them, but it works for me and it keeps my pack waterproof. And I hate the interior plastic on the bag. And I hate having to dig underneath it, but you know what? It works. So it's probably just like an old school thing that I prefer to backpack with these things forever. It's probably just a personal preference thing. But.
So for $1, you can get a poncho. I see a lot of people throw a poncho over themselves and their bags to keep themselves and their bags dry.
Yeah, that's annoying. Super annoying.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's hot.
Right. They could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just showing.
All right.
Yeah.
Next one. What you got?
All right. Life straw. Used literally to save lives by turning unsafe water into potable water.
Yep.
Or you can bring enough water and have spigots along the way. You don't need a life straw. Useless
What?
or
That's the
useful?
alternative? What are you talking about?
Just walk by water.
How about the alternative is like other filters,
Well, there's that too, but no.
not life straw?
No, no. Well, life straw, other filters, it kind of
Okay.
hand in hand, but the life straw in general. What do you think? Useful, useless?
I think you think it's useless. I think all your list is useless. You're like angry at gear and you're just telling me useless things. Am I right?
Right, yeah. Our last one was how I'm angry at ultralight. Now I'm angry at gear. So yeah.
That's right.
I'm
Okay, so
gonna
what
have a
is it?
weird backpack.
That's right.
I think they're useful. I've used
What?
filters. Yeah, I use filters, and I like the Life Straw because it clips onto water bottles, and
Okay.
it can filter a lot different ways. Saves you from carrying extra water if you know you're going to be by streams, and bodies of water. So I like the Life Straws, and they're compact. I mean, even the
Yeah.
gravity filters, they fold up. They're pretty small, and they are lifesavers. So for me, they're
Yeah.
useful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you might have more experience with
So
life
tell
straw
me
than
how
me
I'm
because
wrong, Carl. Tell me how I'm wrong.
so okay, for years, going back to the Backpacker magazine days, you'd see these commercials or these advertisements with the guy who's leaning his face over the stream with the life straw. And thank goodness, thank the Lord, he has this device that can save his life. And he's like sipping directly from the stream through the life straw. And he's like, he's getting water, he's getting life. And I've
Yeah.
never seen anybody do that, first of all. And so I guess what you're describing is you'd use it more as a traditional filter. And maybe I haven't used it that way, but I just feel like there's a lot better options out there from what I've read
Oh,
and seen. But you
I
might
don't know. You could
know
dip your
better.
water bottle right in the water and screw on the Life Straw and just go right to
Yeah.
town while you're wasting your time filtering. I can be drinking nice, cool water.
Can I tell you real quick? There's another
Yeah.
filter company. I'm not going to name the name because I talked to the owner
Okay.
last year, actually this year, not too long ago, and they had like video footage showing you lowering the filter into the stream from like as if you're on a cliff, scooping the
Okay.
water out of the stream, and then being able to filter that way. Like the filter was designed to be lowered from like a high ledge. And he was
Okay.
so proud of that video. I was like, man, that action shot was legit cool, but I've never seen anybody do that, or I don't know the scenario where that actually happens. Am I wrong on
Well, you
that?
search and rescue. They're looking for the guy. They've been out there for a while. Now they got to rappel down
Right.
the helicopter in the middle of the lake, dip their water in there, filter it so they can save, keep looking for the guy that's injured.
So like they're like, hey, chopper pilot, can you lower just for a little bit so I can dip it in the lake and scoop some
No,
out?
no, they're lowering themselves. They rappel down. You don't need to lower the whole
But
helicopter.
that's not what the video was. It was about lowering the filter itself.
Well, because if anything about filtering water, Carl, you gotta go more into the middle of the lake, and you gotta go below
I
the
don't know
top
that
surface.
actually.
You gotta you actually have to go like they tell you, get away from shore and go as deep as you can. So, yeah,
All right, your
that's the
scenario
correct way.
sounds
Yeah,
reasonable. So thank you for supporting my theory there. Okay.
perfect.
All right. Next one I've got is I'm gonna show it to you, and I bet you don't know what this is. This is such a popular
Yeah,
thing to do
Carl,
right
this
now.
is a podcast. All right, Carl's showing me something. Is it a duck call?
Okay, this is an electronic device right here. What do you think this is?
It's a power bank. I bet you it's a power bank.
Yeah, you're close. You're close. This is the FlexTail pump. What is it called? The FlexTail Zero, the 1.2 ounce pump they have. And when we first heard
Oh,
about these on the show, I think Dan Beck was on the show, and I asked him straight up. I was like, Dan, listen, buddy, are you so exhausted when you get to camp that you can't like inflate your own sleeping pad? And he said, basically, he's like, there's just some chores that I find annoying, and the sleeping pad's annoying. And I was
oh,
like,
yeah,
that's fair, right?
I agree. I agree.
So
I hate it.
yeah, so this will solve that problem. You can have
Okay.
the FlexTail do. It says 1.2 ounces. This feels heavier than that. I think this is with the battery inside and everything. I think it's more like 3 ounces. But
I'm going to disagree with what the manufacturer has written on here.
you don't think I know? You don't think I can tell ounces?
Okay, I think we got to put that to the test sometime.
Okay,
That
all
should be a
right.
short
Well,
coming up.
yeah,
Carl will
we can do
test
that.
this. All right,
I'll test it
perfect.
out. Anyway, so it's very convenient. It's still, I mean, whatever it is, it's still ultralight, so it's not taking that
Yeah.
much space in your pack, and it solves a camp chore problem. It makes it easier for you. Downside is they're loud, they're annoying, It's another piece of gear in your pack, and of course, you got to pay for it. It costs $30 to $40. So, what do you think? Do I like it? Not like
Yeah, yeah. If you have to pay for anything, it's useless. But
it.
I think you like it. You
Okay.
know, and if you don't, I'll take it because I hate pumping on my pad, and I'm bringing a pump for that reason. And it's probably a little heavier. I don't have it with me, but I'd probably guess around maybe 2 ounces, maybe 6,
Okay.
somewhere in there. So
I
yeah,
believe you.
no
I
idea.
believe
It
you.
could be a pound. I don't know. Anyways, I think it's useful. And you
You think
spent
I think it's
$40 on it, so
useful?
it has yeah. Oh, you spent money on it, $40. And look at you
Yeah.
just gave yourself a thumbs up online. So yeah, it's useful.
Okay. I think that if you are going on a trip where you don't care about all the stuff or you don't care about all the junk in your pack, whatever, then yeah, I would bring this on like what I would call like a heavy luxury item trip. But if I'm trying to hit some miles, this is not coming. This is like if I'm trying to go ultralight, this is not going to come.
Was your
So
pad coming or not?
my pad's coming. Yeah.
Well, then why wouldn't you bring that? I mean, it's at 1 ounce, right? Did you say it was like
It's
1.2
1.2.
ounces?
Yeah, it's just more
Yeah.
stuff in the pack. And
Put it in your pocket.
honestly, one of the most annoying things I find about backpacking is when I'm packing is charging things. And so this is annoying because it's a
Oh,
charger. Yeah.
okay. Well, I'll take
So
it. It's fine. But yeah, weird.
I can bring this for you for sure.
Yeah, no, I'll bring my own. I don't trust that you would charge it now because it's gonna be annoying. And you're gonna be like, oh,
Right.
I gotta charge it because I told Ben I'd bring it, or show up dead. But I brought it for you. Now
You've
I'm
been
blowing up my
forewarned.
pad because I could have brought my own.
Right. Right. All
Oh
right,
my
next
gosh.
one.
All right. My next one. What do you think this is, Carl? I'm gonna do it too. What do you think? What does this look like to you?
Cell phone.
Yes, there you
iPhone
go.
4.
No, it's a Samsung, but it's okay.
Okay.
Cell phone useful for emergencies. If no service, it's a brick. Useful or useless?
Oh, definitely useful. Like it has so many different uses. Are you serious? Not just for emergencies. I mean, it connects to your locator beacon if you still bring one of those, but it also can be the locator beacon. It can be your camera, your
Right.
video camera, whatever. It has lots of uses. Of course. I think
Okay.
you think
Yeah.
it's useful too.
No, I think it's useless. I think
No.
yeah, I think for the reasons you named it. Now for safety, bring it. But camera, different scenario. But I think it can be useless. Too many times we use our cell phones way too much. We gotta learn how to orientate. One of my biggest pet peeves is people use their phones to figure out trails or that. It's like learn how to use a compass and orientate and degrees. Like, because that's the stuff where your cell phone goes
Degrees.
dead. Yeah, degrees,
Latitude,
like which way
longitude?
you're
Like,
yeah, well, that or like degrees, like, if I go, I'm like right now I'm
oh,
facing
the
328 degrees. Yeah.
gotcha.
So, yeah. So you learn how to use, compasses and
Okay.
orientate using a map. And then also, people are on their phones like, oh, stop, let's get a picture. Let's remember this. And then really, are you going to print out a lot, like all 100 pictures of that? No, you're not. You're not
What
going
is
to do
printing
that.
pictures, man? They're not printing them anymore.
Right. Here, Carl, look at all my backpacking trips. Let me keep swiping all my photos. Nope, you got another 30 minutes. You got to sit here for me to do it. But be in the
Gosh.
moment, put that cell phone
Okay.
down, be in the moment, be intentional. You mentioned you went with Rocky and you guys were very intentional about your trip.
Right.
And what you guys were talking about. So to me, the cell phone can be useful for emergencies, but everything else, like ditch it. Learn how to navigate, get back to your skills. Don't rely on
Okay.
it. And yeah, so that's
All
my
right.
2 cents for it.
I
I know
would
you
like to
disagree.
retitle this episode. I would like to title this Ben the Contrarian Will Try to Make You Mad. And so you're like, what do people love? What do people love to have out there? I'm going to tell them it's like useless. I'm going to tell them it's dumb. And you are succeeding, my friend. Succeeding.
Yep. I can't wait till I get hate mail. I hope people like completely review this and there's like the biggest 1 stars ever. And there's like pitchforks for me. Get rid of Ben. Awful. Does he even backpack?
Does he even backpack? That's a good question. All right. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out here
Your
in a
question.
couple weeks.
I can see your wheels turning like, that's a good question. Does he? I don't
I don't
know.
even
He
know.
sent me pictures, but are they legit?
I think there's like something like 20% of the folks that are listening to this episode right now probably haven't gone on a backpacking trip and they're trying to figure out if they can do it. And then you're telling them to bring all this useful stuff, or you're telling them not to bring that stuff, and they're like, I don't even know what to bring anymore. Ben's confusing me.
Ben told me not to bring my cell phone, so I'm going to leave it in the car, even though I'm going to have service and I'm going to just like get lost.
Right. All right. My last one kind of goes along. You kind of referenced it a little bit with the carabiner thing. So the whole shoulder strap situation. I've already made comments about people bringing pack ornaments. They're dangling off their shoulder straps. And I've gone back and forth on the concept of like various companies make extra pockets you can attach specifically for a water bottle. So you can have like a 20 ounce up to, a full liter water bottle on your shoulder strap. Advantage is as you're hiking, you can just pull it right out, drink from it, put it back. No problem. It is highly convenient. Some of the packs, they're really hard to get back into the side pocket. I've had packs where I can get it in there. I've had packs where I can't get it in there. And so this solves that problem. The downside is you have a very heavy item banging around on your shoulder straps that's frequently like wet. So you're already sweating there. And then there's additional wetness from like, I don't know, just the water bottle itself. If it's cold, the water bottle's sweating, you're spilling, you're, drooling out of your mouth with the water. I don't know, whatever it is. And so what do you think? What is that? Do I think it's useful or useless?
I think it's useless. I mean, at least to me it is. I don't like having,
not what you think. What do I think?
No, I know. Oh my gosh. Here, what do you think, Ben? But don't talk about your opinion like I just did.
I asked, what do I think? You said,
I know. That's what I said. And you're like, I think it. Okay. I think you're going to think it's useless for the reasons you just did. It's right in like a weird, awkward spot. Unless you're like lazy and you want that straw right there so you can just do it. I'm trying to think if you've used Camelbacks. I don't think you do. So, but I think it's useless. You know what? It's useless. You didn't spend $40 on it. You're not holding it up in front of the camera, so I'm going to go useless for those reasons.
I tried one. I'm not going to name the brand, but I tried one, and then we mentioned Aquaclip, which is kind of a version of that, like same kind of idea. Yeah. The one I'm talking about is a pocket, and I like having a pocket here. The only thing I want here is your last useful item, which is a cell phone. I don't want to have a bunch of junk on my shoulder straps, and I definitely don't want a water bottle there. I don't mind stopping to pull it out or having somebody else pull it out for me or put it back for me. I find it to be terribly annoying to have a very like heavy items or lots of items on the shoulder straps, especially when you're taking your pack on and off. It's just awkward.
So one thing I do for that is I'll put my water bottle in my friend's pack and he'll put it in mine. So that way, if I need water, I can just grab it right from his and he can grab it from mine. So that's the pro tip for me. Because sometimes it is hard with the mesh packs. You're like trying to get it and reach back. So I get that and I don't like it there. And you know what I put on my shoulder strap? My compass. So just throwing it out there.
That's fair. That's fair. Just, there's a lot of folks that go by themselves. They can't do the friend thing. And nor do they want to do the friend thing. They want to, even people that don't go by themselves want to be self-sufficient, self-contained. So I get why that might not be appealing to you, but I just don't like it. I don't like it.
I would at that point I would probably just do a Camelback. Most packs have a spot for your Camelback to slide into, and you get your straw. I don't use it because it tastes weird. I'm very weird about water, and I do the one thing you're not supposed to do. I actually throw your packets of flavored water in your Camelback, and I call them disposable. So every trip I'm throwing away $15 for a new platypus. But yeah,
but the Camelback itself is disposable. You're saying?
Yeah, well, to me it is because I just don't wash it and clean it. I'm just like, well, I'll get a new one next time I go backpacking.
Those are like $30 to $40. Those aren't $15.
Well, I don't spend that much for the actual name brand, so I get the cheaper ones for that reason.
That's why it tastes weird. It's like
I just water plastic. In general. I'm very picky about water. Like it has to be a certain brand. It has to be a certain degree. I like cold water. So this backpacking trip, it'll be
it has to be 71 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, I like it probably closer to 50, like cold water. Okay. So yeah, it'll be fun. It's gonna be a fun trip, Carl. You're gonna hear me complaining about my water if I can't find a stream to use my life straw to get my cold water.
Like right now, to be honest, you're coming across as like old man Ben, like the kids these days, they can't use a compass, they want to use their cell phone, and I want my 52-degree water.
And here you are, just like, look at my new gadgets I got. I love my nice dry pack.
I know. I'm not bringing this. I can fly.
No, right. I said pack, and you hold up your inflatable thing. Okay. Anyways,
Last one. Yeah, one more. What you got?
I got paracord. Looks cool wrapped in a bracelet, but does anyone actually unravel to use it?
Oh yeah, I have for sure. But go ahead.
This isn't about you, Carl. This is about me. So what do I think? Not you, but what do I think?
Does anybody actually use it? I answered the question and he got mad. I don't know what else to do. All right. So
is it useful?
Why would you use it? Aside from bracelet decorations, hand decorations, what's the advantage of having it?
Oh, you have extra rope to tie trees, your tent, if you forget something. If you break a leg, you can tie a wrap a splint.
Oh, yeah,
There's a lot.
yeah.
I mean, how many times, you forget you need extra rope for anything, you got it. And it's very small. So what do you think? Useful, useless?
I would say you think it is useless still.
Is that your final? Wow, you do not know me. It's useful, man.
No,
I love it.
I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you don't. Yeah. No, I like paracord. It is good for, what we talked about, just hanging bear packs. If it's on your bracelet, you can wrap it up tiny, barely anything, comes in handy, multiple uses. So I like it.
Okay. We did an episode a few years ago, like 25 uses for paracord, I think it was. We came up with so many different things, shoelaces, all sorts of stuff. And so, but then I brought it forever and then I just never pulled it out of my pack forever and ever. And I was like, okay, I get that it's useful in an emergency. Emergencies aren't super common. And so I just stopped bringing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we should bring it. But yeah, anyways, that's all I got. That is my list. So hopefully I brought people back with the paracord, but other people were like, oh, useless. Never used it before, pretty much like you. So yeah.
You can make the case that paracord is old man Ben too. So I don't know if you brought people back with that. All right. Well, what do we get right? What do we get wrong? What other things do you feel like are controversial we should have talked about? We actually did a pretty good job not rehashing things like the Nalgene, the footprint, and a few other things. So overall, I think we had some fresh items to discuss. We didn't bring up the buff, which is a hot topic, but yeah, good job, man. Good job.
No, I appreciate it. We went a different direction, and I like it.
We did. All right.
So what's my grade on that? A? Good. A plus.
A for the creativity of your list. C for your answers about what are useful or useless. Okay. You got trivia, right?
I got trivia. Yes, I do. I'm excited for it. I think you're gonna hate it.
Okay. Well, what's it called?
Oh, it is called backpacking trivia, Carl.
Wow. Okay. We got backpacking trivia coming up right after this. The trail is calling your name. Are you ready? Are you really ready? Our good friend Rowan from Summit Strength can get you trail ready. Rowan uses rock-solid evidence to design a specialized training program just for you. There are plenty of cookie-cutter programs out there that will get you only halfway up the mountain. Make it to your adventure summit with Summit Strength. The link to your success is always in our episode description, but you can check out all the information you need at summitstrength.com.au/online. It's time to be strong and pain-free for your next adventure. All right, so backpacking trivia by Ben is brought to us by Teton Gear. So I was on their Facebook page this week, and they had a post about one of their tents, and they had an interesting hook. It said, "Scared of being stranded on your next hike?" And so they're trying to show how if you brought this tent along, that can solve your problems, right? Which is nice. It's nice to have a tent if you are going to get stuck somewhere. But for newer hikers, do you think do they have a fear of being stranded, do you think?
I'm trying to think of stranded how. I'm just thinking you carry a tent in your car, so if your car breaks down, you can just pitch a tent and then come crawl. You're I'm not stranded anymore.
Right. That's a scenario for sure. That's happened.
Maybe it's more backpacking though. So backpacking, maybe it's what we've talked about in the past is you misjudge a trail and it's taken longer. Or you ran into something turned wrong. Now you got ultra. Maybe it's a lighter tent, and so now you can just I'm fine. I just need to pitch the tent, gather my bearings, sleep overnight, and then I'm ready to go in the morning. So yeah, I can see that.
I think it's a legit concern for newer hikers, even day hikers and newer backpackers. I think, and that's new and the kind of the mid-level backpacker. That's who Teton Gear's for. So I think that's actually a legit concern. So I actually like the hook on that one. So thank you for sponsoring trivia. Ben, I think it's time also to talk about, before we get to trivia, we've been kind of dancing around this, like, what are we going to do on this upcoming trip for the person who loses the most trivia? So
Right.
what's your trivia punishment for me? What are you throwing out there?
So what I'm throwing out, and I was I was confused. I was looking up a Biffy, and and I came across a Bivy. And so Bivy,
Okay.
I think you got to sleep in a Bivy for at least one night for our upcoming trip.
Okay.
And so it looks like basically a coffin, sleeping bag. It's like 6 to 8 inches tall. You crawl in it and you put a screen over your face. It looks
Okay.
awful.
Do you
It's
own
a
a
tent,
baby? I'm not
but
going
it's
to buy
sleeping bag
one.
tent. No, I don't. So we'll figure that out if you lose, but
Okay.
you're gonna lose. So yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
All right. I don't know that you thought through that one, but
Why would I
in
have to
my
buy? Why would I have to buy it if I lost trivia? Like,
because it's not not that you'd have to buy it, but you might already
okay,
have one that you could lend to me.
gotcha.
And it's not reasonable to be like, oh, you lost trivia, just spend $150 to pay your penance. Like, that's not really appropriate, right? That's a lot.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, well,
That's a lot.
agree to
Okay.
disagree on that. All right, what's yours?
What, you don't think $150 is a lot of money?
As I'm rolling in the dough over here. No, it
Yeah.
is. I get it. So yeah.
Okay.
So what's yours?
All right. So we've been putting out these like comedy sketch videos every Wednesday. Actually, one of them relates to this current episode where we had last week. It was the worst backpacking hacks you've ever seen. Definitely want to check that one out. But in recent weeks, we had Fake Ranger Eric hop onto our YouTube channel. So in spirit of Fake Ranger Eric, I'll provide the gear, but I would like you to pretend to be a ranger on the trail and ask to see somebody's permit.
Oh, okay. That's easy.
Like, you don't have to say that you're a ranger. You just have to dress like one, and I'll provide the gear.
Yeah.
And then you just have to say, like, hello, can I see your permit?
Sure. Done. I like it. I can do that, and I think it'll be good. Either way, I'll do it for you in content for the show. So it'll hopefully go good.
I just want you to embarrass yourself, not because for the show.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. If it winds up embarrassing. Okay, you've been stopped by our actual ranger. Did it go well? I know it didn't. We don't have to rehash it, but like initially, are you scared and like argumentative, or were you like, I'm gonna be polite? Because I want to know how people are going to react to me if I lose. Like, are they going to start yelling at me? And like, what if I actually do it and the person doesn't have a permit and they start running away or start kicking at me or something? So
no, I'm not scared and scared of the ranger. No, I mean, maybe I guess you're scared if you're breaking the rules or they catch you doing something. But
right.
We ran into 2 rangers last summer in Desolation Wilderness, and we ended up like asking their permission to interview them on the spot. And so we were asked all sorts of questions about like, can you legally blacklist somebody? Do you know Ranger Annie? Like those types of questions. And we'll release that later. But yeah, it was fine. It was good. So nice.
So people should be happy. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I'm not worried.
Let's get a trivia, Ben. What you got? Backpacking.
All right, backpacking trivia. I think you're gonna love these. It's kind of a variety. And you should know the answer to all these. I made it kind of easier for you because I don't want you yelling at me.
Okay.
But here we go. Which dehydrated food has the most protein? Mountain House biscuits and gravy.
Okay.
Peak biscuits and gravy. Biscuits and gravy from McDonald's or biscuits from KFC. Because I didn't see that they had gravy at KFC. So
oh my gosh. This is actually a really funny question. It's pretty, you're right. It's ridiculous. But I like this one. Dude, it's gotta be the Peak Refuel, right? It's gotta be that one.
Yeah. I mean, anytime and I'll get to my story later about it, but they have 34 grams. Mountain House came in at 11 grams. The biscuits and gravy from McDonald's came in at 19 grams. So actually, you get more from biscuits and gravy from McDonald's. Yeah. And then the biscuits from KFC were 3.8.
Yeah, because there's no meat.
Yeah, there's no gravy, no sausage. So I think the gravy from McDonald's had sausage and the Peak one. And I don't know if Mountain House was just biscuits and gravy and they left out like sausage to get it not so high. So yeah. Okay.
That's
you got that one.
Interesting one. I like that one.
I'm trying to learn. You keep critiquing me how bad my trivia is, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. Now,
just the apple question from a couple weeks ago, that was terrible.
Well, I think you're probably not gonna like this one then. All right. Okay. Someone calls you a Sasquatch. They are saying you are A, hairy, B, have big feet, C, like beef jerky, or D, are being mean by calling you names?
Okay. All right. Can you at least tell me where you found the answer to this?
It's common knowledge in this part of the woods.
Common knowledge. You didn't even look it up, did you?
I did actually. So
Okay.
you can
It's
go
got
to
to be letter A.
sasquatch.com.
It's got to be that you're really like a big hairy person.
Yes, you're correct. Because if you're big,
Yeah.
if you have big feet, you're Bigfoot. And if you like beef
Okay.
jerky, you're Bigfoot too. So yeah, I almost got you. I was
Wait,
hoping you'd
wait,
like the beef
everybody out
jerky
there
one.
likes beef jerky. They're Bigfoot, is what you're saying.
No, Sasquatch or
Okay.
Bigfoot. Yeah. Okay. All right. You remember? Hey, you remember last episode? You gave me a name.
No.
You remember?
What
You
was it?
threw in like names. Remember? You were like, "Hey, remember the first person to ever do this?" And
Oh
you
yeah,
told
yeah, yeah,
me
yeah,
like
yeah.
I had to, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
a names
Have fun with
question.
this
Yeah.
one, buddy. Yeah, have this
Okay.
one. Have fun. Who's the first
Okay.
guy to do the PCT?
Okay, but I give you multiple
Is it?
choice. You give me multiple choice.
Oh, yeah. I'm coming. Don't worry. It's coming.
Okay.
Is it Orville Wright, Eric Ryback, Henry Dillinger, or John Ronald Reuel Tolkien?
What was the last one again?
I don't know if I can say it.
Ron.
John Ronald Reuel Tolkien.
That was good. That was good. J.R.R. Tolkien. I love that. I like
Oh,
that
you got it. I was hoping to sneak it by you. I was hoping to
No,
sneak it
no,
by you.
no, no.
Oh, all
Okay, I
right.
think it's
Yeah.
the I recognize those names though. I want to say it's Orville.
Is that your final?
Yeah.
So you chose the Wright brothers, the first ones to
Is
fly.
is that who that is? That's why I recognize the name.
I thought for sure you'd know that one. It was Eric Ryback. So Orville Wright, like, was the famous one. To me, is one of the
Yeah,
more famous Wright brothers. And then Eric
that's
Ryback's the
awesome.
first one. Henry
Okay.
Dillinger, did the Dillinger gun, and then J.R. Tolkien you got. So I was
didn't know
hoping if
that.
I
Okay.
spelled that.
All right, you
Yeah.
got me on that one.
Wow, I
Right,
snuck it. Wow, good.
I still
How was that
passed my
trivia?
thing.
Was that good? Yeah, you passed still.
I think that was good. I like that. That
Good.
was creative, man.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm learning.
I mean,
I'm
like
good.
a little bit weird on the second question, but I think I think you're right. I think that people they get called that. I think that is a common knowledge thing. I haven't been called that. I don't ever get accused of having too much hair. So yeah. Anyway, all right. We got a few tidbits we got to get to here. First tidbit. So I told you about the time vortex thing.
Yes.
I just want you to objectively weigh in. Do you have the capacity to do that?
Yes. Yeah, I'll listen.
Okay.
Were you wearing a watch?
So here's the deal. So we've lived in our house for 18 years, and when we first moved in, there were new builds in the area. One street over has an awesome street name. It's called Dinosaur Street. And
Okay.
there's a dude that lives on Dinosaur Street, and he lives kind of like right on the turn into our neighborhood or our part of the neighborhood. And he's outside with his kids all the stinking time. He's playing with his kids. He's just a good dad. When we moved in, he had like a 7-year-old, he had a 4-year-old, he had a 2-year-old. And so as I'm making my turn, like coming home, I'm always waving at him. He waves back at me, friendly guy. As the years wear on, same thing. I'm always waving at him. He waves back at me. 5 years in, he's playing with his kids. 10 years in, he's playing with his kids. 15 years in, he's still got the 7-year-old, the 4-year-old, the 2-year-old. He's just playing out there. How's this possible?
Okay. Have you met him before?
Yeah.
Or you just wave? You just wave.
I've met him like a couple times. He's like wandered onto our street, and he's a friendly guy. Yeah.
Okay. What I can say is maybe he's like foster care. So like the kids are just the same. He's just recycle.
Actually.
Yeah. Wow. My first thing. So you don't even know if the kids are the same.
I'm
All right, okay, moving on.
I'm not like, look at those kids. I'm leaving at the guy. That's creepy, man.
I like how you're like, okay, time vortex, and like, oh my gosh, saw that. Dude. That actually might make sense.
Like 2 years ago, he moved away. He moved like out of town. I haven't seen him until this past weekend. I saw him like in like a nearby town. My daughter was doing some driving test over there, and I saw him at the local grocery store, and I was like, do I get out and talk to him and ask him about his ageless kids, or is that like socially awkward? So I didn't do
No,
it.
you should. You should definitely ask him.
Okay. He's like, you know how you like run into certain people like all the time? He's one of those guys. I'm sure I'll see him again. I'll ask him. Okay.
Yeah. Please ask him.
I'll ask if he does foster care. Okay.
All right.
Mountain House story number 1, Ben. What you got?
All right. So my daughter and her crew are heading She works with the National Forest, and they are heading to the park fire in California. And so I'm helping them because I work there with our volunteer department, and we're helping get them ready and get their packs moved and all that. And I noticed they have 2 massive duffel bags of Mountain House food.
What?
And I'm like, yeah. And I asked the captain, I'm like, hey, do you guys have you ever tried Peak? He's like, dude, we've got Peak. And he goes and tells one of his guys to go into the storage container and get the boxes of Peak. And literally,
Wait,
they
show
take out
you?
all the
Like, is it show and tell? What is this?
No, they get you can't tell, but they actually were so nice. They gave me a Peak one of themselves. So I got the backcountry bison bowl. But anyways,
why is he showing you? He's like, we got to prove to you that we have all this Peak.
Oh no, because if you let me finish the story, Carl, you'd hear they literally dumped out all the Mountain House out of their bags and filled them with Peak and threw the Peak up there and left the Mountain House out.
Wait, so what's happened to the Mountain House? Where's that going?
They kind of stuck it on top just in case somebody tries to get it. And like, so what happened on a previous trip, and here's my story number 2, is some guy comes up to him and was like, hey, I'm hungry. You guys got some food for me? And I don't know if he was a fellow firefighter or what. And they're like, yeah. And they give him a Mountain House. Guy opens the Mountain House, doesn't follow directions. So I get this part, takes the oxygen absorber and cuts it. And they're like, what are you doing? He goes, that's not seasoning you throw on your pan. So he's ready to put the oxygen absorber inside the pot
to season.
Yeah. So I think they throw that on top to disguise the good food. But they're stoked.
Wait,
I mean, you're going from 20 grams of protein to 42. So I love it.
Why wouldn't you let the guy season his food with the oxygen absorber just to see if it like tasted better?
Well, and that's what I was telling the story that I just leave them in there and cook it with my water. Maybe that's why I don't get all the water. It absorbs the water. I don't know. Right. So yeah, let's see what happens. Like let's just stand back and watch the sky and see if some adverse effect happens. So those are my 2 Mountain House stories.
Those are good ones. I like those. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, and we're not sponsored by either of those companies. In fact, I like both. Certain flavors from both those companies, but there's definitely some other brands out there that I like as well, just to clarify. And you know what?
It's the biscuits and gravy Mountain House is my favorite. I like those ones, and I do like the Peak. So yeah. Anyways, we're here to help.
And appreciate you standing in again for Derek. Hopefully we'll have an update here in a couple weeks from Derek. He's so I don't want to share anything, but we'll hopefully get him back on here. But I
hope you still have listeners after this show. You might have to rebuild the whole podcast back up.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, I so appreciate you, man. I know you'll be stepping in maybe a couple more times before Derek jumps back on. And then in the meantime, if you're a holdout for Spotify or Apple Podcasts and haven't given us a review, please do. We will send you. We got some freebie backpacking blister stickers and some other kind of little things we will throw in there. Happy to send them your way. We'll read them on the show, and we just appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and listen to our backpacking nonsense. Ben, that's all I got. What about you?
I'm good. I'm excited to hear what everyone has to say about this episode, and if they like us or not after this.
That's right. All right, everybody. Have a great week, and God bless.
See ya.